And welcome back to Hot and Cold Podcast. We had a busy week last week. We had a ton of guests on it. So I wanted to say this to the audience. Me and Connor had an off-air conversation. I think we ended up doing 3 interviews. We had a little bit more scheduled. Some stuff just didn't fall in the right places, but we had such a busy week. I felt like we were nonstop recording last week, and I had so much fun doing it. And I hope you guys enjoyed it a ton. But before we get into the episode, Connor, how you doing today?
Apparently better than you.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second.
I've had a good morning so far. Got a little breakfast sandwich, a little sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. I mean, really good start to the day.
Now you're just rubbing it in my face. But we'll get going. Before we do, let's talk a little bit about our sponsor, Adrenaline Shock. As I'll say in a second, I actually risked my integrity as a podcast host and was late to the episode for I think the second time because I was out getting an A shock. And I mean, I think it's worth it at the end of the day because it's the best energy drink on the market. If I did this episode without an A shock, you guys would not be having fun listening to it because I wouldn't be talking as fast. I wouldn't be as energetic with my takes. And I feel like sometimes when I drink an A shock, I feel like the takes just come flying just out of nowhere. And if I didn't have it, I would just be a boring podcast host. So I put all of my credibility onto Adrenaline Shock as a company. So, anyways, I do kind of want to get into and I'll tell you what, probably if I had to guess, this could last for anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 minutes. And the first 5 to 20 minutes of this podcast is, again, nothing about college basketball. I had one of the worst mornings I have had in a while. And yeah, probably an over exaggeration, but I just want to talk about how stupid this is. So, me and Connor, we decide on interviewing or doing this podcast at 10 a.m. So, I get up at 9. I leave for breakfast. I don't go to McDonald's because McDonald's is always packed. Wasn't going to get back in time. I was like, nope, not doing that. So I remember a couple weeks ago, I had Arby's breakfast, and that's something that nobody really knows about. Nobody knows that Arby's sells breakfast. And I go to our little Arby's in town. If you don't know, we live right in the middle of 3 different towns. They're all within, a 10-minute drive. There's Evansville, Newburgh, and Boonville. So I went to the Newburgh one. Turns out that Arby's does not sell breakfast. So I was spent contemplating the rest of my morning if me having that breakfast from Arby's was a fever dream, if I was making it up, or if I was correct and they just stopped selling breakfast within the week I had it. And that I was just in a whole conspiracy theory the rest of the morning. So then I go to our local Casey's for an adrenaline shock. And I was like, well, if I'm not going to get food, I might as well get my energy drink. So I go to the Casey's, walk in, seriously a line to the back of the grocery store or of the gas station. And it is the most insane line I've ever seen at a gas station. And I'm like, are you serious? And mind you, at this point, it is probably 9:25. So I'm like, okay, I guess if I wait in this line, I may get back in time. Well, turns out everybody in front of me, not blaming anybody, but it was a one-lane cashier. I don't know where the other cashiers were. And apparently everybody in front of me had to buy whatever took the longest to buy. So I was standing in that gas station for 30 minutes. 30 minutes trying to get one A-Shock. And mind you, it was worth it because it's the best energy drink on the market. But it was absolutely absurd. Then I get back home. I turn on my Zoom and I'm ready to go. I have my mic set up. I get on the Zoom. Camera stops working. I have to restart my laptop. That adds another 15 minutes. I get back on and my Wi-Fi completely shuts off. Completely. So I go on my hotspot. and mind you, when I do this, I thought my power went out because all my lights turned off in my house at once. My Wi-Fi goes off. I lose Connor. I get on my hotspot. I'm back in the Zoom, and then my Wi-Fi starts to work again. So that led that whole story, and I know it sounds like I'm complaining, and my morning was a complete debacle, but that led me to a conversation that me and Connor should have, and it is kind of like, does Arby's really sell breakfast? And second, if they do, where do they rank among the other fast food places? So, Connor, do you have any comments on my morning?
Yeah, well, you told me you went to Arby's. I was like, Arby's for breakfast? Like, that's a thing? Like, I didn't know it was a thing. And I immediately am questioning your breakfast choices because you chose to go to like you could have went to Wendy's, Subway, Taco Bell.
Yep.
I mean, even Chick-fil-A is worth the drive maybe to get really, like I was shocked when you're like, yeah, I went to Arby's this morning. Yeah. It's like, that is, but apparently they have breakfast. Apparently they do. I did not know that.
So, yeah, I mean, I went in with a plan. Obviously, I know I'm not saying Arby's is the best, but I was jonesing for a chicken biscuit. That's what I wanted. At the end of the day, that's what I wanted. Chick-fil-A is probably from my house. It's a 25-minute drive.
Okay. Yeah, that's about right.
And so, not to mention the line would be, through, and they go fast through the line, but I can't be in a 20-car line and somehow make it to the podcast on time. Now, if I knew that I'd be late anyways, I would have just bit the bullet and I would have went to Chick-fil-A. Maybe I would have went to McDonald's, which was probably
should have went to Hardee's.
Longer.
Honestly, that's where you should have.
Maybe Hardee's.
Should have went to Hardee's.
I mean, I came in with a plan. The plan wasn't executed. I didn't know, and apparently this is new to me. We did some research pre-podcast. I didn't know that only one Arby's location in, Southern Indiana sold breakfast. That is absolutely ridiculous. It is
the Newburgh one. I think Newburgh one, it does. I think they do sell breakfast. I just think they open later.
No. Do you think they start selling breakfast at 11
At 10 a.m.? No, it's 10. They open at 10
a.m.
Yeah.
So I was just there like 30 minutes.
You're there too early. Yeah.
Oh my!
They probably sell it from 10 to 11.
Well, okay. We did our research. The one in Boonville opens at 6 a.m. So why is there
a normal place?
Why is there such a discrepancy?
I'm not really sure. That is odd, but I don't know.
Screw up my morning?
I guess just to say, you know what? Sam Wrench wants to go to our place of business this morning. So let's just F up his morning and not open on time.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably all in there laughing at you.
I was sitting in that drive-thru alone for 3 minutes, at least, maybe even 5, because sometimes you pull up to a drive-thru and they take a while to even register that you're sitting there.
Yeah.
I thought that's what was going on.
So do you want to hear a funny story that I've realized over going through the drive-thru? Like when you're sitting at the drive-thru and they're not speaking to you yet, they can still hear you.
What?
They can still hear you. Like if you start talking to them, they can hear you, but they haven't said anything to you yet. So one time when I was in the drive-thru, they were taking forever. I'm, complaining, throwing my hands up in the air. And I'm saying this is absolutely ridiculous. And then they could hear me the whole time. It was one of the most embarrassing yet hilarious moments that I have ever had in a drive-thru line. Like I couldn't even get through the order because I was cracking up at the fact that they could hear me.
What did they say?
Nothing. They were just kind of like, now we're ready to take your order. I was like, awesome. They just heard me complaining to their face.
Oh my gosh. How many F-bombs did he drop?
None. No, I wasn't that bad, but
Okay.
yeah, it was embarrassing because I
Well,
was saying like this is ridiculous. This service is terrible. Like I felt bad immediately.
which chain was it?
This was at Subway.
Oh, it's Subway.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean they hear that most. I bet they'd be surprised if they didn't hear that at Subway.
yeah. It was.
By the way, I'm not a fan of Subway. I eat Subway a lot. Like that's probably, you know, and I feel like a lot of people are like this. It's like top 5 most eaten at fast food restaurant for almost everybody. And that's just because it's the only thing that offers anything close to healthy. Like it's not healthy. It's like you're basically just eating a pastry with a bunch of deli meat on it. But it's the closest thing to it. And it's like in this, it's got everybody thinking that. And so everybody goes there. But nobody, I feel like maybe you do, Connor, but I feel like nobody likes it. And especially not me. Because
I love it.
I've had some terrible experiences at Subway. I used to get the I think it was like the teriyaki chicken or the something chicken. And for all our listeners, as a piece of advice, never get the chicken because they throw it. You ask them to toast it, and it always, for me at least, always comes out cold, and I want to throw up. It's so bad. It's terrible. So yeah, don't get that from Subway. Now you said their breakfast is okay though.
Breakfast is very good.
I see. I don't know. I just can't do it. I think the egg gets very cold and the egg gets like just really rubbery. It's disgusting. Now you said
I think you're the problem. I think you're the problem with these.
I'm
places.
the problem.
I think you're too picky. I think you're
I'm
expecting.
I'm not a picky.
You're
person.
expecting too much from a fast food restaurant. You're expecting it to be higher quality. Just gotta throw that thing in the microwave for a little bit. Heat that chicken up. Just gotta heat it up a little bit.
Well, I don't have a microwave in my car. Sometimes most of the time when I eat, most of the time when I get fast food, I don't have the time to get home. If I had the time to get home, I would just, throw something from the freezer in. But
that's fair. That's fair.
I'm on the road and I need to get going. I can't have time for, a cold ass chicken sandwich from Subway. I just can't do it.
Is this becoming a hate, like a thing? Like, are you a Subway hater?
No, I'm not. No, because I do like their cold cuts. I like when it like the turkey with the cheese. Throw that and that heats up nicely. And I'm cool with the turkey being a little bit cold because that's how most people usually eat the turkey. Yeah. But yeah, not when it's chicken. When it's grilled chicken, come on. That how is that not like a health concern? Like it's salmonella, right?
It's already cooked. It's just cold.
I don't know if that
plays. You can't get sick from that. Like it is cooked. It's not like it's raw. It's already
fair. I guess fair.
You need to have a fast food enthusiast on as a guest to discuss this and these other matters that we have.
I think the funny thing about that is if I go around asking, people I know for a fast food enthusiast, I think that is the one thing that I think everybody would say, oh, I'm perfect for that. I know everything about fast food.
Everybody
that's one of those things. Yeah. Which is just absolutely hilarious. Like I can text, 3 or 4 people right now and they'll all say, oh, I'll come on and talk fast food. Yeah, but that's not what we're looking for though. Like we need somebody.
We need a professional.
Yeah.
That has been in the business before. The fast food
that's a
industry.
Good one. We need like a Chick-fil-A manager or something.
Yeah. Do you enjoy saying my pleasure 1,000 times a day?
No, all right. Chick-fil-A, I've never had a complaint with Chick-fil-A. Never. That's one of
those. You got my order wrong a couple times recently, and it's shocking. And I want to be like, okay, well, you said my pleasure, and it was not my pleasure because you got my order wrong. So
I feel like if they mess up your order, Chick-fil-A is that type of restaurant. If they mess up your order once, you get like a year of free chicken.
A year free, yeah.
Yeah.
I should have said something. I probably would have gotten coupons like for years.
Oh yeah.
Coupon or coupon? Is that?
It's
not getting
coupon. No, coupon. Yeah. It's coupon.
Oh, all right. Should we get on to college basketball?
Yeah. Can we please start talking? All right. So I do want to say one little thing more about my wife. Over the weekend, I was in Nashville. I kind of took a break from college basketball. I gave the reins of the Twitter account to Connor. So if he said something stupid over the weekend, that is all Connor. Do not put that on me. But
I think I was pretty mellow this weekend. little Duren commentary. That's about it. Maybe some Amoni.
Okay. So, but yeah, I kind of took the break off college basketball. I was in Nashville. I was having a good time. There was an IndyCar race down there. Everybody who listens knows that I'm a big IndyCar fan. My whole family is, so it's kind of hard for me to avoid that. And
breaking news. Top 10 small forward MJ Rice has committed to Kansas 2022.
Is that the kid that when we had Jake Weingarten on, he said like, he's kind of a Louisville walk, and that was a long time ago. So obviously things change. Is that the same kid?
I think it could have been, because I remember he was talking about how Louisville was finally going to get a 5-star.
Yeah. Well, either way. No, I don't think Louisville was on his final list. I remember seeing that, but I thought Weingarten.
Louisville did offer. Yes, you are. I think you are right on that. They were not. Okay. This is actually kind of interesting. Just looking at his predictions on 247. I think a lot of people were expecting him to go pro.
Really?
He had
was
4
he good
or
enough
5
to go
predictions.
Pro?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess he had pro offers. So that's a big get for Bill Self.
I guess so. And I do want to comment. We'll get to MJ Rice at the end, but I do want to kind of finish. And there, all right, back to the Nashville trip. My favorite country artist, John Party, had a concert. I was there. It was freaking amazing. Pouring down rain, but I was the guy in the crowd screaming every song at the top of my lungs. So, kind of moving on. I missed a lot. So I feel like as soon as I arrived in Nashville, a certain Jalen Duren decided to commit. And he went to Memphis. So we talked ad nauseum. We talked for so long about the possibility of him going to Memphis and joining his AAU teammate Amani Bates with the Memphis Tigers. And now one domino has fallen.
Yeah.
Jalen Duren is a Memphis Tiger. So what I want to say is that puts a ton of pressure on Penny Hardaway. And I am so excited for this. I'm so excited for this because even if Amani Bates doesn't come, Memphis is now solidified as a top 20 team with Jalen Duren on their team. They probably have a top 10 roster in the country and top 20 team because, Penny Hardaway and everything he's done. That's probably where people will have them ranked. But Connor, you have a comment.
I do on the Duren thing. I think it was reported he got an offer. I can't remember if it was in the G League or overtime. I can't remember who was pursuing him. I don't know if you know that specifically, but it was $2 million.
NBL. Yeah, the
NBL
Australian League. Yeah.
I mean, how do these teams have like the money to do that? And like, I don't understand the whole G League process in general, because these teams, do they make money? Like, how can they continue to shell out hundreds of thousands of dollars to players if they don't make money?
I think I could be wrong. I think the NBL, for, it's New Zealand, not Australia, same thing. But I think that actually attracts,
they might
audience.
Have fans.
Yeah, they might have actual fans. Like they might have, the New Zealand, basketball fans watching them because that's the league. Like they offer these high school kids to come in because that's great competition and everything. But those are professional those are real grown men in that league. Like I think who was over there? Somebody was over there playing in the NBL,
RJ, right? Or no, it wasn't RJ, was it? Hampton?
Yeah, no, RJ Hampton, but I'm talking about like a former NBA player
Oh,
Oh, who was it? Oh, I can't. I'm never. I think Bogut may have been there. I don't know. It
I
was
think
some. It was
Bogut
somebody.
could have
Yeah.
been over there. Yeah.
So yeah, they're real grown men. So people are actually going to watch them play, and they're just adding in this new factor with the high school kids, and it's funny because LaMelo Ball went over there, and I mean, I guess it worked out for him because he went 3 in the draft. So
Yeah.
I'm not faulting him at all, but he went over there, and his stat lines were hilarious because he just treated it like a game of like knockout, just whatever, just putting up any shot he wants, and
Yeah.
he had the worst percentages ever. And so like it's real competition. Like they're not automatically the best players in that league. RJ Hampton went there and his draft stock plummeted. It
Yes.
plummeted from going over there. So I mean, yeah, I guess they do have the revenue to shell out. I know Barstool, I think they own a team or they're investors in a team over there. So I mean, I guess
But even like
and
G League and like over like is there money coming just from like
I think the NBA subsidizes it. I think that's
okay.
money from
Is
the
that what
NBA.
it is?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think Adam Silver
That's
actually is
that makes
giving
sense
money
then.
to that league. Yeah. But yeah, I
That's
mean, G
crazy.
League Ignite makes no money. Like there's no way they bring
I
in
know,
any
right?
revenue. Yeah.
Exactly. But apparently the reason I brought it up is because apparently Memphis, which I can't remember, there was a tweet about it. I can try and find it while I'm speaking, but apparently Memphis thinks they can match the
With
amount
the
of revenue he
NIL.
would have, yes, with NIL, which is absolutely insane. $2 million.
Yeah.
I mean,
I,
that's it's right here. Memphis is using a very lucrative 6 to 7 figure NIL deal partnered with FedEx for their recruiting pitches for both Duren and Bates, a new era in college basketball.
isn't that like
That's
that's against the rules, no? The
what's
team
that?
is not allowed to be involved with
They
NIL
didn't.
deals. So Memphis is
I think you
distancing.
can. They're like in the middle. They're like the middleman. Like they hire and they like outsource to someone
I
that
thought
can
that was like
then.
the one rule. I thought it
I
was
think you
like
can do that, right?
teams and coaches cannot be involved in
I
NIL
think the
deal.
program can. Like Indiana hired
Yeah,
two like NIL.
that
I think that's what it is.
but that's like an advisor thing. Like that's what Indiana is doing is like to help with the financials and make sure none of the players get screwed. This is Memphis actually hiring out an advertiser.
Maybe it's not. It's weird because there's not a lot of details on it. But that's in their pitch, I guess.
Well, I
I mean,
mean,
it's in Kentucky's pitch
if
too.
it's
I'm
public,
assuming, or
yeah, I mean, oh
everybody's.
yeah. If it's public, I guess it's not against the rules, or else how stupid could you be? But
Yeah,
like that's actually hilarious. I don't think Jalen Duren can match that at Memphis, unless I mean he's probably getting whatever he's probably getting the Penny Hardaway treatment like James Wiseman did. But
yes.
it's you can't really match that with an NIL deal, no matter how good you are, no matter how popular you are. And the thing with Jalen Duren is he's definitely going to make a lot of money.
He
But
might get a shoe deal.
yeah, but he is as a player, and I think maybe at Kentucky he could have, one of the biggest stages in college basketball. He's on ESPN every night, and maybe Memphis will be the same thing
I think
if they get
will
him
be,
money.
especially if they get him money.
Yeah. But like his style of play, it's not flashy at all. Like he kind of tries to play like Bam Adebayo. Sometimes he'll do the flashy pass, but he is back to the basket, dunk on your face. Like that's his main style of play.
Is that not flashy?
Maybe it is to some people, but I know people like, for instance, I have a friend who loves basketball more than anybody I know.
Okay.
We, sometimes when you're hanging out with people, you decide this is such a guy thing to do, but and you get YouTube out and you turn on highlights.
I'm
And
watching highlights right now.
yeah, exactly. But you turn on highlights, and Jalen Duren is a great player. I love watching his tape, and I think he is so fun to watch. But I guarantee there's a lot of people just like him. Every time I try to turn on a big man recruit, I try to turn on Paulo Banchero, I try to turn on Jalen Duren. He goes, turn this big man highlight tape off. He's like, this is so boring to watch. Just back to the basket turn, and maybe he just doesn't love basketball. Maybe he just wants to see the flashy dribble moves and the shooting. But I don't know. That's an interesting discussion.
I've watched 45 seconds, and if you don't think Jalen Duren is highlight material, then you're just crazy. He's a 7-footer, bringing the ball up the floor, just dunking on people. I mean, this is unbelievable. This is good stuff. He's throwing people into the stand. Like, oh my God. Okay, I kind of see why Cal is like, okay, maybe we can get him.
Yeah.
Still rather have Kofi, but man, this guy.
He's different. He is a different basketball player. Like, I legitimately, there's an argument that he should be the number 1 pick next year. Like,
if Memphis gets Imoni, they're winning it. They're winning it all.
Okay. I know,
but you want to transition to that a little bit? Because they're getting him.
We did an entire episode on it, but we can.
5 predictions have been put in now. Just real quick.
Yeah.
5 predictions. That's like done deal, right?
No, it sure looks like it. And I'd be surprised if he didn't go to Memphis, because that has been reported. That's been the smoke for a while. I think ever since, and I was the one, I was still kind of, going on the other side, being arbitrary to Duren going to Memphis. But when Imoni reclassified, that's when it kind of became real. That's when it was like, okay, maybe it's happening. And I don't know. Like, if they go there, they'll be a damn good team. They have to prove it to me, though. They have to prove it to me.
Let me ask you this, because I know you're going to hold. By the way, these Duren highlights are ridiculous.
He's still watching. They're mesmerizing. I don't know how he can't watch it. I don't know, but apparently there's a whole segment of people out there that just don't appreciate big man highlights, which is just crazy to me.
What is okay? Because you're saying the pressure's on Penny, which I totally agree. What does he have to do to satisfy your expectations? Say he doesn't get Imoni. Well, I get win, but win what? Like, win it all?
Don't disappoint with that roster.
Okay, what is that though? Like,
okay, all right. Say they
win a game in the
start,
tournament.
Say they start preseason top 15, right?
Okay.
They better end up in the season at least top 25.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's really not lofty. It's really not lofty expectations. Okay. And then you can't,
maybe win a game of the tournament. Like,
you can't putter out in the tournament early. Like, just don't disappoint with that roster and get upset on a a consistent basis.
So basically, what you're saying is, all he needs to do is
not
be in the top 25.
Yeah,
and win in the first round of the tournament.
They're not lofty expectations.
And that that's surprising.
That's not a success. That's just meeting. That's doing the bare minimum. Okay, I'm probably still going to make fun of him, but
I'm surprised you weren't saying like he has to get to the Final Four or he's fired.
Well, it should be that, because that is the one coach, and Torres said this, I think. This is the one coach that promised that he was going to win a national championship in like his second year. Like, he came out and said this team was going to win a national championship. So I'm actually being extremely nice. It should be go to the Final Four. It should be
if they get Imoni,
you promise.
That moves the goalpost.
For sure. If they get Imoni,
they got to go to the Elite Eight.
They got to go to the Elite Eight, or else I'm making fun of them on a serious level. Like,
barring any injuries, of course. But like, yes.
Yeah. But
like, if Duren or if somebody goes down,
barring injury to Bates or Duren.
Yes, not like a role player. Like,
yeah.
You've got your 2 guys, then you should be going to the Elite Eight, I think.
Absolutely.
And they have an easy schedule, so they really shouldn't be beat up. Like, it's not a gauntlet schedule like the SEC is going to be. Like, I know they might have some non-conference games, but like,
they play in the AAC. They have Houston in their conference, and that's that's it.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows if Houston will be the same team? They're probably not.
I think if they get Imoni, they should be the number 1 team in the country. Is that crazy?
They should be, or they will be.
They should be, like, preseason. I think they have the most talented roster in the country if they get Emoni Bates.
That's a hot
in the
take.
country. Who else is better?
I think Gonzaga is still better.
Gonzaga, okay.
I think UCLA is still better.
Talent here. Talent, like player rankings, just pure.
Okay, if we're going off pure player
talent.
rankings, then sure. Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. Off of what 24/7 says, then yeah. Number one. But come on.
I think they're top 5 easily, though.
Talent-wise, I agree, but they're going to drop a ton of games that they shouldn't.
No, they're not.
Yeah, I promise you they will.
Oh, my gosh.
I promise you they lose 8+ games.
What?
Yes.
If they get Emoni, they're going to lose 8+.
If they get Emoni Bates, they're going to lose 8+ games.
No.
It won't work. I promise you it won't work. And by the way, this is something I wanted to get to harp on a little bit. The NCAA, I mentioned this in the last podcast, that Emoni Bates, he has to be in college for 2 years. He won't be eligible for the NBA draft. The NCAA is the most pushover organization in the United States of America. We agree on this?
Yeah.
I think they have every rule that they have. I've seen them make an exception to every case. They always make an exception. Say, well, okay, he can. Oh, okay, he can transfer. And this was, 2 years ago. And that is 100% going to happen for Emoni Bates. They're 100% going to let him go pro after 1 year in college basketball. And I honestly think they should, because he has no business being in college basketball for 2 years. I would love it. But it would feel forced. It would feel very forced to have him in college basketball for 2 years. And if he stays with Memphis, that's another year. And I would love it, because if he stayed with Memphis, that's another year I can say that Penny Hardaway disappointed. Because it's gonna I promise you, man. It's gonna be.
Dude, I just looked their conference. They're gonna be undefeated in the conference. Maybe lose one game.
They're gonna lose to Wichita State.
Oh my God.
They're gonna lose to Houston, definitely. Honestly, here's my thing. I know people are gonna say, like, I'm a little bit insane with these. Not even biased. It's just a little bit insane with what I'm saying, because it is very fun to make fun of Penny Hardaway. And if you haven't joined the dark side, get on it now. Don't fall for the banana.
I'm a Penny supporter.
You fell for the banana in the tailpipe.
I'm a supporter. Penny Hardaway is going to be successful this year. Book it.
Okay, that's fine.
And then he's going to sign a long-term deal with Memphis, because he's going to have a powerhouse.
I'm just saying that organization is going to be, it's going to burst in flames. Their coaching staff is it's comedy. It's Penny Hardaway, Rasheed Wallace, and Larry Brown. You don't think they're going to get caught up in controversy in the next couple of years?
Nope.
You don't think that them promising Jalen Duren $2 million, not to say Jalen Duren can't make it, but they promised him $2 million. And you think that's all above the table money? Everything that's going to come his way?
Yes.
All right. That's fair. If you think that we can end the discussion on that, because that will be the funniest burst of flames in the history of college basketball, and I cannot wait for it. But kind of moving on. Another commitment happened while I was gone. This was something I didn't even know was in the makings. I didn't even know it was coming so fast. I guess it was reported on. I just forgot. Keyonte George decided on where he wanted to go to college, and I don't know if we've ever really talked about Keyonte George on the podcast. He's a Texas kid. One of the best guards in the country. He's an athletic freak. He was a Texas lock for forever. I think he came down to his final 4 or 5. Was it 4 or 5? It was Texas, Oklahoma State, Kansas. I know Kentucky was in there, and Baylor. He never did visit Kentucky. I think they were kind of out on him when they kind of saw how far behind they were. And he was Texas lock, and then out of nowhere, Baylor comes in and steals the kid. So
Yep.
I think this is a bigger story than people realize. Chris Beard, obviously, he's making his mark at Texas. He's gotten any kid he's wanted, basically. It's like he hasn't lost the recruitment yet. And I know it's been early, but he's won a ton of them. This is his first big loss at Texas. He had the early lead. He had the long lead on Keyonte George. And then last second, Scott Drew came in and he stole the kid from him. So does this kind of solidify Baylor as a powerhouse for years to come? No. You don't think Baylor can repeat on what they have done in the past couple of years? You don't think they can keep that rolling?
Absolutely not.
You think that was all circumstance? That entire roster was completely circumstantial. That's fine. But
100%.
what's your reasoning?
Because they got that roster was not like young guys, like not 5-star like freshmen and stuff. Those are like 4-year, 3-year players like that were not highly ranked, and they really improved like through their careers at Baylor. I don't think that's sustainable.
No.
Like that was awesome for them, but I don't think that like no program can do that.
Yeah.
Like that's just not going to happen. But it is a step in the right direction for that to continue. If they have to get these 5-stars, which they have,
and they have some coming in this year, and then obviously Keyonte George is coming in the next.
That's going to be the big factor, and if this continues or not, if it's real, because Scott, their team has never really had to rely on those freshmen, except when they weren't very good.
Yeah.
So like if you look at Mark Vital, senior, Jared Butler, junior, Matthew Mayer, junior, Maceo Teague, senior, and these aren't highly ranked players.
Well, the funny thing about their top three, which was Maceo Teague, Jared Butler, and Davion Mitchell, is they were all transfers. And
yes.
Yeah, and they all came into Baylor as not very highly touted. Like Scott Drew just saw potential in them. Like Jared Butler spent a semester at Alabama. Davion Mitchell spent a year at Auburn, I believe, as a walk-on or as a guy who never saw the court. Maceo Teague was the guy on like Presbyterian. Like that is a crazy, crazy top three. It's hard to repeat that for sure. It's definitely hard to repeat that. But I mean, he is showing that he is here to stay. In my opinion, I think he is trying to prove that he is here to stay with all these guys he's bringing in. I mean, he's got Kendall Brown coming in next year, or this coming year, sorry. And then he's got who else is in this class? Let me see. Kendall Brown is coming in. There's one more. I don't want to. Langston Love is coming in, and a 4-star with him. So, I mean, they have a good recruiting class coming in, as well as, a ton of guys returning. And obviously they added in James Akinjo as well. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to watch, because I think Baylor, in all seriousness, you look at the past, 10 championship winners. We can talk about this all we want. If you want, we can get into this discussion. I believe that the best championship team, and this could be my bias, and you're more unbiased than me, so you can tell me I'm wrong or whatever. I think the best championship team in the past 10 years was that 2012 Kentucky team. Maybe not. With that Anthony Davis, most dominant player in the country, most dominant player in the past 10 years. You can argue him or Zion, whatever. I think that was number one. But then you look at 2 and 3, I think Baylor's number 2. I think that roster was perfect. And I said early in the year, I told Joe Nardi to his face, I think Baylor is a better team than Gonzaga. And he was like, you're an insane person. Like, they will not pass Gonzaga. But I told him, and I was like, I think it's Baylor. And Baylor, dominated Gonzaga on the big stage. So what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I probably agree. The thing with Baylor, and this is the whole reason that way back when that people were, one could say that Scott Drew might leave Baylor and go somewhere else. I think they've peaked.
Okay.
Like, I'm not sure he will ever win again. And honestly, he doesn't have to, because the rebuild that he's done, allegations or not, has been very impressive. And he is like, he has achieved the highest expectation that he had for himself.
Mhm.
He achieved it at Baylor. But I don't think it goes up from here. You could play, it could stay the same. I don't think they win, but they could have some good tournament runs. Yeah. But the group that they had is not probably going to happen again. And with the transfer rule, it's possible, but this was very unusual. Team building.
That squad was different because the transfer rule, it's going to be, and I kind of mentioned this, but that squad was different because the transfer rule, it's going to be guys building their names somewhere else and then all coming together in a culmination. Yeah. Those guys grew together at Baylor.
Absolutely.
Like, they weren't recruited to Baylor, but they kind of showed what they got, and they were able to come into Baylor. Scott Drew believed in them, and then they grew together. And they seriously formed, I think, like, as championship teams, the second best championship team of this decade. And that's an impressive status to have. It was them and Gonzaga all year long, and then they just wiped the floor.
Yes.
So yeah, it's an interesting discussion. I didn't know if I was gonna ask that or not, but there we go. And then, kind of with our last topic, something that happened during the show, we might as well talk about. It's Kansas bringing in MJ Rice. And I do have a take about Kansas, which I think is hilarious. So I think Bill Self is an excellent recruiter. And I think, an excellent recruiter, as long as Snoop Dogg can come to the Midnight Madness and he can throw money at the crowd. But MJ Rice commits, number 20 player in the country, obviously somebody we talked about with Jank Weingarten. And I was kind of talking to Jared Nutt, listener, Kansas fan, last night about this because, every Kansas reporter said, expect big news tomorrow morning, that little subtle thing that all writers do. So we were talking about it. MJ Rice is a great player, probably better than most of the recruits that Kansas gets because they kind of hang in the low 100s and then fight teams that are beneath them. Yeah. And we were talking about it. It's funny because you see these top 10 lists with, the 87th ranked player in the country. And it's like Belmont. It's San Jose State. It's, Tulsa. And then it's Kansas. And you're just like, what is that kid doing if he's not picking Kansas from that list? But I do like the direction that Bill Self takes in recruiting because he doesn't always swing for the fences on, the top 10, top 5 guys. But he does actually make a concerted effort to build a good roster. And that's something I think Cal struggles at, and I think we all know that. So Bill Self actually has a leg up on Cal in that, and that is your nice thing to say about Bill Self. And because I think I do need to start saying some nice things about the people I do not like, not hate. I do not like. I don't want to say hate. I mean, I've said some nice things in the past about Penny Hardaway. It's none are racking my mind right now. I can't get to that. But I will say that about Bill Self because that is the most interesting approach to recruiting because we all know Kansas could get the top of the top guys. They could if they went all in on them, but they don't. They grabbed MJ Rice, and MJ Rice will probably be the highest ranked player that they get in this class. So that's just something I wanted to say. That was my little soapbox discussion on that. Do you have anything on that?
Kansas has always been kind of criticized with their, I guess, their tournament runs. I do feel like their talent does only get them to a certain point. Like I feel like in the past they've had those good guards. That's been like their MO. Like you have Frank Mason, you had way back in the day when they were like number one, it was Sharon Collins, but like that's what they've always had.
There you go.
Yeah, Cole Aldrich, the Morris twin. Like, think about that team for a second. Let's think about that. Shout out to Jared. Shout out to Kansas. Sharon Collins, Tyshawn Taylor, the Morris twins, Thomas Robinson, Cole Aldrich.
Went to a championship with that roster.
They lose to Northern Iowa one year. It's like,
oh yes, yes.
how does that happen? Like there's like 6 NBA players on that roster.
Yeah.
That played for at least 3 or 4 years in the NBA. The Morris twins are like, they weren't really that good yet that year, but my God, I mean,
2 watery.
Anyway,
they were both watery picks. Went back to
Thomas
back
Robinson, top five,
yeah.
like crazy. But I've always liked Bill Self, and I like that, he doesn't have to go after the high ranking guys. He does build his teams. They've had depth issues the past, I feel like, couple years, and it's become really evident. Like last year, they had 5 guys, and that was it. Now, they go out and get Remy Martin. They're going to be depth-wise much better, and I feel like that could lead to a tournament run. I hope, because it'll make you upset, and it's good content.
Why?
And
all right.
also,
why is it always the
in.
best? Why is it always the best content when I'm upset? It's never like when you're happy. It's the good content. When you're upset, it's probably the same. But when I'm pissed off, it makes for probably the best episodes.
Very angry.
Which sucks.
It's awesome.
Because I don't even want to put it out when I'm pissed off. Like, it takes me a while to edit because I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I hate this. And I put it out and it does numbers. So like
if there's a Kansas-Memphis national championship game, I don't even think you're going to watch. It's like a lose-lose for you.
I have to watch.
Or like a Final Four of like Kansas, Indiana, Memphis, and like Auburn, or something like that. Duke. Yeah. I'm telling you, you might not watch. Like, and if you do,
I would watch. I would watch it. I would watch it very sarcastically. I would, and I would live stream it. It would be an explicit live stream, and it would be fantastic. Yes. Although I think you can get like kicked off Twitch for cussing nowadays.
I think you can, yeah.
Which is stupid. Which is very stupid. We talked about it with Wyatt, actually, about how stupid censoring stuff is on internet and TV. Like, why would you do that? It makes for the best that shouldn't be said,
but some other stuff, like, it's not that bad.
Exactly. All right. Maybe the F-bomb was too far. Maybe you can't say the F-bomb. But why?
I guess not.
Why?
But why?
Exactly.
I mean, like, come on.
Well, it's a word. It's one word.
Yeah.
And then, but you're allowed to talk about, like Wyatt said. Wyatt literally said all that they do. By the way, I don't know. Wyatt's going to be pissed. I don't know how it ended, The Bachelor.
I don't know how The Bachelor ended either. I don't either.
Huh. But he was saying that Katie and the one dude, all they talked about was sex. But they can't say the F-bomb. You're actually, it's weird, doesn't make sense to me. That went on a high horse. Shaden Sharp, by the way, this is the last topic, I promise. Shaden Sharp was ranked by 3 recruits. I almost got 1 recruits. I don't know which way they want it to be pronounced, but he was ranked as the number 1 player in the class by that ranking system. In 24/7, he was ranked at 6. He's been described by many as the number 1 scorer in the country. I do want to say, let's not forget when he was ranked like 35-40, which was only a couple months ago. Bryson Moore on this podcast said that he is maybe the best player in the country.
He did.
Which was absolutely calling his shot. Shout out Bryson for that. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And now, all right, Shaden Sharp, don't want to speculate where he's going, but
I hope he goes to Kentucky.
You do?
I do. I really do.
It would make me happy.
Number one recruit to Kentucky. Jinx.
That's a jinx, really.
Nerlens.
Scal.
Yeah. Come on. I know you got Anthony Davis, but he's he's doesn't count. Like, there's no one like Anthony Davis.
John Wall. Yeah.
Not Kelsey. That was a Memphis guy.
That was a Memphis guy.
Originally a Memphis.
He was. Yeah. He absolutely was. Sure. But I'm just saying, Shaden Sharp If you watch his tape, all right. We talk about highlight watching.
He's going to be
what's
a
fun,
bust.
What's not. Maybe. I don't know.
Just kidding. Totally kidding.
He's a 6'5" shooting guard. There's a lot of that's what's weird about it, because in every class you see a number 1 ranked guy is like somebody that's like a unicorn, like, or a 6'8" point guard, or a 7-footer forward that can take the ball up the court, because those are the guys that stand out, and they're always ranked number 1. You never really see guys anymore ranked number 1 off pure, talent in a like normal frame for a guard. And that's what Shaedon Sharpe is. He's a 6'5", forward/guard. When you watch him play, it looks like everything is just really easy to him. Everything comes easy. It doesn't even look like he's trying half the time. And he's still putting up numbers. I think he led Peach Jam in scoring, I believe. Like, he is an absolute bucket. So that is a guy I want to keep a close eye on, because Bryson was the first to say it. We had Sean Smith on, and we didn't even ask him about Shaedon Sharpe, and he brought him up on his own. So, I mean, this is a guy who just keeps coming back into hot and cold's mouth, and let's see where he ranks at the end in all of the recruiting bases, because On3 is new. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm not saying Shaedon Sharpe isn't, but it wouldn't be surprised if they're just trying to make, content, trying to get clicks by saying something controversial.
Yep. Putting
him at 1. Who knows? Sean Smith said that he thinks Shaedon Sharpe could be the number 1 player in the country. So we'll see. That's what I want to end it on. But yeah. Don't get your Arby's breakfast. Don't go get Arby's breakfast, because it's probably not open. Get your A Shock. My morning's a little bit better. I think that episode kind of brightened me up a little bit. So
that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me, Connor.
Yep. Happy to be here.
And love you guys.